Live. And welcome back. Welcome everybody to NRN National Racing Network. We are here at Stafford Motor Speedway tonight for round number 9 of the TNT Shock Series. Yes, it's Tuesday night, and that means only one thing. It's the Thunder. We have James Watson starting on pole position tonight with Jason Miller on his outside. Row number P2 is Peter Donchak with Michael Long. Row 3, we have Wes Shear with J.W. Miller. On row 4 tonight, it is Brian Labarge with Nia Kamaho. And rounding out the field, it's Drew Bernardi. Sorry for the short introduction, folks. I'm as ever Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you. And we are back now for the next race of the series after a short break. A little technical issue has just meant we had to rush in, but we've caught the start of the race. So most importantly, we're about to go green here for round number 9. Watson gets a good start from the inside, and away they go for 55 minutes of this very tricky track. A place that has caught many a driver out in their practice session today, and it's going to be one of those races where people have to be cautious in the early stages, getting those tyres up to temperature. Good racing towards the back. Got a lot of cars side by side at the moment. J.W. Miller, Brian Labarge, Nia Kamaho and Drew Bernardi just getting close to the wall, but keeping it running smoothly. As they go down and through, it's up the front, and I do fear we might not actually be live still because it seems to be not showing up. We're just double checking things right now. And so there we go, we are live. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, good racing through the pack here. Slightly smaller field, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to get some great racing here tonight for the TWRS TNT series here on National Racing Network. Up the front, it is James Watson in the lead at the moment, getting a decent gap as we just see, Peter Donchak just getting a little bit loose, and in the background, we've got Drew Bernardi just having a little bit of a snap, and he managed to keep himself in contention there. This place is really quite tricky for these drivers. It's a place that is catching a lot of them out, as I said before, and a few drivers are really going to be struggling here as those tyres get some heat into them and things start to get a bit slippery. It's a track that really is difficult as well. Very strange banking here, as it almost feels like it's got a multi-groove, but it doesn't quite work that way. As we jump back to the replay here, and we catch that moment for Drew Bernardi, back end stepping out. He manages to save it in the nick of time, spins it round, keeps himself out of any wall. It's going to lose him a lot of time, but can get back into this race. Watching Jason Miller here, kart number 3. Taking a bit of the apron and trying to close the gap on James Watson, who's at the moment galloping away up the front of the field, really hugging that apron, getting himself good exit through the corner. And you've got to be a little bit careful down there because the road gradient does change a little bit, and that can throw these cars off. We've seen that in the past, so I think we're going to see drivers keeping up on the track a little bit more often, but the fastest line does seem to be just cutting that apron a little bit. Meanwhile, we've got a good race going on with Wes Shear and Brian Labarge right now. Both of them battling it out as Labarge gives that wall a little bit of a rub. Just the gentlest of kisses there for the number 8. Looks like he's gotten away with that one, but it has cost him a little bit of momentum. Can he get himself back up here? Can he get himself back on the attack of that 16 car? Good little bit of racing here, and just in the background you can also see J.W. Miller and Nia Kamaho. Good run now for Brian Labarge. Manages to get that inside line. Is he going to try the late braking? No, just gets himself behind, but he's putting Shear under pressure, where Shear's going to have to start defending a little bit here. That could put him slightly in the wrong spot. As we said before, J.W. Miller now defending against Nia Kamaho, who's going to put him under all kinds of pressure. As we've got a car around somewhere, because I just saw a huge puff of smoke, and I think it might be Drew Bernardi again. Just going into the Legends circuit. Similar thing to last time, just off of turn 4, back end, has let go as he's got his foot on the power. Didn't even have it at full power there, and the thing was spinning. Just shows that this place is really, really easy to catch these drivers out. You've got to drive it around like there's an egg underneath your accelerator pedal, because if you get too hard on that throttle, you're going to find yourself looping around and in some serious trouble. Luckily for Bernardi, though, he did manage to keep himself out of any walls, so shouldn't have any damage. Meanwhile, up the front, James Watson has a 1.5 second lead over Jason Miller. You can see here that Watson is getting that car running very well at the moment with its TWRS setup. The Team Watson Racing setups working extremely well at the moment for James Watson, and he is pulling himself into a good position. And that car looks to be one of the most stable out there at the moment. You need some good advertising for a setup shot. That is how you do it. Meanwhile, just behind him, you can see Jason Miller is trying to get that gap closed down and just keeping Peter Donchek behind. These two not fighting too much at the moment. That is what they need to do to try and close that gap on James Watson up in front. So good job from Miller and Donchek, just keeping himself in check. Where's Sheer Brian Labarge as well? Not battling too much at the moment, trying to close that gap. That's what you need to do. You can't afford to race side by side. Find yourselves costing each other time lap after lap, and find yourself in a position where the leader starts galloping away. Sometimes it's best to live to fight another day and get yourself close to the leader rather than battle it out on track. Pretty much single file throughout the field now, as everybody is settling in for this stint. Of course, we will see these cars down pit road. We will see them getting some fresh boots on the cars, as well as getting the fuel in. How long can they go? That's going to be the crucial part. With it being a short track, you tend to have to mash the accelerator a little bit harder. You tend to be on throttle a little bit more on the exit, and that does use up a bit of fuel. So we do sometimes find, despite it being quite short, that you do tend to struggle a little bit to save fuel. You can lift and coast into the corner a little bit, but there's not much else you can do on a track like this. The draft isn't really going to help you too much, as Miller now is keeping an eye on his mirrors because Donchek is thinking he's got a little bit more speed at the moment, and they can't really afford to battle too hard. But if Peter Donchek is the faster of those two cars, he needs to get himself ahead of Jason Miller and start closing that 1.6 second gap to Watson out front. So sometimes in a race like this, in these situations, it's best to just let that car go in front of you and sit in its slipstream and let it drag you along. Try and get a little bit of an advantage that way if you think the car behind you is going to be a bit faster, because remember, there is a long way in this race to go. You can't win it in these opening laps, but you sure as heck can lose it, and losing the leader by such a big gap, unless we get a caution, can be difficult to grab it back. Of course, we could be seeing some clever fuel strategies throughout the field as well. Wonder if anybody has worked it out, if they can make it on a single tank of fuel here tonight, and if that's going to be the best option. Obviously, a lot of time is going to be lost down pit road. Very, very small pit limit on that one, and that's going to really cost you a lot of time. You're going to go down a fair few laps when you do come in. So if you can extend it to a single stop here tonight, you're going to be in such a good position where the others are going to really struggle to catch you. You can see here Donchek looking down the inside of Miller, trying to sort of get an idea of where he's going to be strongest, getting a little bit of clean air on that front wing as well, just so he doesn't understeer too much and work those tyres too hard. A little bit further back, the two of Nia Kamaho and J.W. Miller, and you can see there Kamaho looking to make the move here. Was hearing from J.W. Miller earlier, this is first time at this track, so learning it very, very quickly here tonight and doing a decent job of keeping it on the pace at the moment. All 9 of our competitors are still out there lapping. Drew Bernardi has dropped a lap with that little mistake, but he is continuing on here and a lucky caution could find himself back up into the main pack in this race, find himself moving along nicely. You can see here just trying to work out where it's going to be strongest for Kamayo, where can he make that move, trying to figure out what he can do here up at the front. Meanwhile, towards the front of the pack, James Watson has started losing a little bit of time. The gap now 0.7 of a second. So did he go a little bit too hard too soon? Has he used up the best of those tyres? And is he starting to drop back a little bit now? What is going to be this result of this race? We are going to find out within the short time that we have. So up the front, it's still Watson, Miller, Donchek. But a little bit further behind, we're seeing some good racing going on as they really are trying to work out the best way to overtake here. I think your best option is going to be just backing up the corner a little bit, trying to get the exit, as we do see that with Brian Labarge and Wes Shear at the moment. Labarge just trying to get a better exit off the corner, get that run down the straight. If he can get himself on the inside, he should be able to make the move happen. But he needs to get there as all the back wheels give up the ghost on the number 8 car. Number 8 car, as he just has that little bit of a slide out the corner, and that indicates there's a bit too much heat in those tyres. He could be struggling here, and that could really hurt him for the attack a little bit later on. You can see now the gap to the leader is closing quite quickly, 0.65 of a second now, and Jason Miller is closing in at a vast rate of knots. James Watson maybe just went a little bit too hard in that opening stint, and it is costing him now. Should have a little bit of better tyres up there at the front, running in the clean air, as he's not really got anybody in front of him, muddying up the aerodynamics of the car. So he should be able to keep it going pretty well, but those cars behind are catching him, and now they're going to start getting themselves into the slipstream range, where they'll be able to use that short bit of straight, get themselves a little bit closer. As we can see here, Donchek is trying to hurry Jason Miller along at the moment. If he could bump draft him, I'm sure he would be trying that as well. On the onboard here of the number 13, he's really keeping himself in a good position right now. He just drops a little bit lower on the corner than Miller, and that could be just trying to get a little bit more air on the front wing, just trying to get that car stuck in rather than following the car too closely. He's trying to get that little bit of clean air, get himself turned in, and protect that front right tyre, there we go, from any sort of damage, because it is very easy to really scrub those tyres and cause them to be problematic if you follow too closely in the tyre tracks of the car ahead. A little bit further back, Brian Labarge still trying his best to get past Wes Shear, still putting on all the different kinds of moves, darting left and right and trying to get himself a run on that car in front. But passing is looking to be quite difficult here tonight at Stafford Motor Speedway, and it is not looking the easiest place to pass for sure. So we continue on here as we hit lap 45 of this race. Of course, it is a timed race, so it won't be going on forever, but it is coming along nicely at the moment, and we should hopefully get some good racing in the very near future. We're seeing a lot of defensive driving, a lot of drivers trying to work out where they can move to get the attack on at the moment on this track. And as I said, it's not the easiest place because it is relatively flat here. It's one of those tracks that people just struggle a little bit, and it can be sort of almost a single line down low because of the way it actually is. But if you can get the run off the corner, you should find yourself in a decent position to actually sort of get a bit of a run and get yourself up there. But we'll see how that unfolds in the very near future. If anybody can actually get those big runs, we'll see if that can actually start to play out. As we see Labarge still trying to get down on the inside. He really needs to get that inside line on the car of Wes Shear and find himself in a position where he can just sneak himself up there a little bit and get himself into that prime spot. But getting there is the hard part. Stafford Plains is a fairly old track and a place that has a lot of history to it as well. Racing began at Stafford Springs Agricultural Park in the 1870s, but the power plants were purely uniquely equine until the end of World War II, when midgets and sprint cars and the occasional stock car would displace the horses on the half-mile dirt track here. In 1959, I should say, management Stafford's Speedway obtained a NASCAR sanction, an arrangement that endures to this day, and makes this place quite a fun one for some of the smaller cars out there, some of the short track runners, and it really does add a lot of challenge to it. As we said, it's pretty flat. It's not the flattest place you're ever going to find, but the banking does really unsettle the car a little bit, and you just got to be really cautious. You can't really run too high up here because the banking doesn't quite allow it. Battle's still going on for second, third, fourth and fifth at the moment, and we can see Donchak looking to make the move. Can't quite have it work at the moment. He's seeing what he can get done here and see if he can actually find his way up to the front. As we have 33 minutes left of this race, we'll head to a quick ad break before we start seeing the pit stops happening. We'll throw there and we'll be back with you very, very shortly. And we are back here on National Racing Network. It is Tuesday night, and that means it's time for Tuesday Night Thunder. We are here at Stafford Motor Speedway for round 9 of the season, and things are going on here at the race. Currently, James Watson in the lead has started to build up a little bit of a gap once more, up to 1 second, as they just get their way past Drew Bernardi there. He's falling down a second lap here. Just behind, though, the race is really on. Jason Miller, Peter Donchek, Wes Shear, and Brian Labage. All of these cars nose to tail at the moment, taking as much advantage of the draft pack as is possible, and all trying to catch one of the drivers out as Bernardi there just gives the wall a little hit. That just shows how tough it is. If you get too high on that line, you find yourself in trouble very shortly. Keeping his way out the leaders, very nice of him there, but that little bit of damage is not going to help him, and it just shows why drivers aren't going up high to do the overtakes. It is a very tricky, this track. It's almost running a little bit like a goat track at the moment, where it is follow the leader. Everybody keeping quite low. Some drivers not dipping the apron, a couple of them are, so that is an opportunity there. But it is very much a race of almost single file, as we see Peter Donchek trying to get that high line working on Jason Miller. He's trying to go up high, trying to square off the corner a little bit, see if he can get a run in. Yes, it was in the 86, and that might be damage for that one, as he's got himself a meatball flag, the black and orange flag that we so lovingly refer to as a meatball. It means that you've got to come into the pit lane because you've got some damage that requires repairing. The car has been deemed by the marshals that it needs a bit of repair, and no surprise that when you see the impact there to that right front, really damaged the suspension, possibly popped the tyre off the rim. That car just understeered straight into that wall, and that's what we were talking about just before. You've got to be so cautious of that high line. So easy to find yourself understeering. The car will not turn, and you will fly into that wall. All the bits of debris and detritus that sits up on that high side just makes your tyres lose all the grip in the world, and you find yourself in trouble very, very quickly. Michael Long keeping his way out of the packs, who's gobbling him up at the moment. He's taking that high line and really struggling to get that car on the exit, but doing a good job at the moment, just keeping himself out of trouble is the number 21. But you can see here with the onboard, just get so close to the wall if you run that high side, and you lose a lot of time as well. Now the rest of the lead pack will almost be through. He'll be able to start getting himself back to the racing line and find himself in a much more comfortable position. We see Nir Kamaho just working his way through. JW Miller's dropped back unseen by us. He's been passed by Nir Kamaho, and he's just starting to struggle a little bit. Still got some good pace in that car. I'm just going back to see if there's anything that happened there other than just the pass. But he's just losing a bit of time to the rest of the pack. Currently, it is James Watson in the lead. He's keeping himself up front and keeping himself with a bit of a healthy gap now, up to 1.2 seconds. The rest of the field separated by 3 seconds down to Nir Kamaho, JW Miller 6.2 seconds off. Still setting some good pace, still some life in the tyres, obviously, but they will be thinking about that pit stop very, very shortly, I'm sure. Thinking about when they need to come into the lane and get this stop over and done with. Of course, they're going to chuck some fuel in the car, get some fresh tyres, and get themselves back underway in this race. It is James Watson up there, but this battle behind is giving us some great entertainment at the moment. Jason Miller, Peter Donchek, Wes Shear, Brian Labage, and now Nir Kamaho getting into the mix as well. And they're still trying to figure out the best way to pass here. I wonder if people are just keeping their cards close, waiting until the final few laps so they can try and catch people out and try and get themselves working up the field. Looks like, unfortunately, Drew Bernardi has had to take the car. He's not quite behind the wall at the moment. He is getting a lengthy repair job done in the lane, and he's going to be hemorrhaging laps as he sits there. It happens so quickly here. A lap passes in a blink of an eye, 17-second lap. It's not long indeed. When you're going through the pit lane, it feels like an eternity. So James Watson up the front, knows what he needs to do, has taken victories this season and has been having a absolutely stellar time. The old purple patch is hitting hard for James Watson, really running well, and he knows what he needs to do up the front of the field. He will be keeping himself on the ball and up for this one, trying to get himself even closer to securing that championship. Jason Miller, meanwhile, really wants to get up there and get himself a win for the season, as well as everybody else in this pack trying to get themselves at least their first win or a second win so far in this 2025 season of the Tuesday Night Thunder Series here on National Racing Network. So 25 minutes left in this race. We will be coming to those green flag stops soon, as long as nothing happens out on track. And with a slightly smaller field, that does mean that there is less chance for a caution. And we've got a first car in. It's Brian Labarge bringing it into the lane, coming in for his stop. It's a long old trundle down the lane here as you come in. It's not a vastly long pit lane, at least you don't have to go all the way around. But it still takes an enormous amount of time when you're on such a short track. Labarge is going to try and take advantage of a little bit of an undercut here, and try and get his tyres up to temperature quick, try and get himself back out on track and get himself ahead of some of those cars. He's going to use the clean air to his advantage. So how long does everybody else stick it out? Will they try and get in quick? We have got coming into the lane somebody else, and we've got a few cars coming in near Kamaho. JW Miller in the lane as Labarge just pushes a bit too hard on those cold tyres and almost gets caught out by going into the wall. That's something you've got to be so cautious of in these cars. These fantastic little Indy Pro 2000s, they are something that takes a little bit of time to get the temperature up in the tyres. It takes about 4 or 5 laps sometimes, and that can really cost you. So sometimes the overcut is the best strategy, but you come out on cold tyres with a car on warm tyres behind you, and that can really catch you out. Jason Miller into the lane as Labarge is struggling out there at the moment, locks up all 4 tyres again, really pushing hard, but it is not working for the number 8 as Jason Miller drops off the jacks and heads his way out of the lane. Going to be seeing the leaders come in very shortly. James Watson out there with Wes Shear, Peter Donchek, the only cars not to have stopped yet, including Michael Long, actually, who's managed to extend his stint a little bit. Into the lane, though, no, not quite yet. As we see, yes, into the lane comes James Watson with Wes Shear, and that's going to leave Peter Donchek out there as Wes Shear cuts the grass. He doesn't get that car stopped in time. Did not practice that tricky pit entry enough in the practice session, obviously, and got caught out. A few drivers were talking about how hard it is to get in here into this pit lane. You can see dropping it down, you've got a real tight left-hander. The car just understeers off and does not want to stop. You've got to be so cautious on the brakes there, because these cars don't particularly like turning while braking. So it is a very tricky pit entry here, and it has caught our first car out. Luckily, though, not a huge amount of time lost, but any time lost is never a good thing. So Peter Donchek sticking it out. He's going for a nice long little stint here and keeping himself on track. Wonder if he's hoping that we might get a late caution, or he's just going to be extending the stint as much as he can, so he has a little bit less time stationary in the lane for that fuel. Meanwhile, out on track, we can see there as Jason Miller and Wes Shear are battling it out with each other on track. As a little tap of the wall for Miller. He just gives that wall a little hit, hopefully not too much damage to that car. You can afford to give it a kiss, but you can't afford to give it a whack. That can be so painful. Michael Long finally brings it into the lane for his stop, but still out there is Peter Donchek, who has done 97 laps so far. How much further can he extend it here? That is really good, useful information. They shouldn't need to stop again from this point out. As we can see here, Wes Shear gets a good run actually on the outside. He's using those fresh tyres. Can he make it work? Not quite. Jason Miller manages to get himself down the inside still, keeping himself in that position. Shear trying to try and get a better run off the corner, try and position himself underneath the number 3. Can't quite make it work as they battle it out here. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, as we see Brian Labarge getting into the mix as well, with Peter Donchek sticking it out at the moment. He finally brings it into the lane. A monster stint, 100 laps there. Really good fuel save by Peter Donchek. Hopefully this can be rewarded with a nice short trip through the lane, and he can find himself back out in the, well, at least in some good positions with these drivers, and find himself battling it out with them. As it doesn't seem to have worked out. I wonder if Peter Donchek got himself a penalty, unfortunately, or just didn't quite pay off. It's odd. He's either got some big damage, or he's got himself a penalty. He's got himself a penalty in pit entry. I don't know if Kobe can find the replay on that one, but he went wide on pit entry, much like we saw Wes Shear, and unfortunately cut back after the cones. That would have got him a massive penalty in the lane. Here we go. Hopefully this will be the replay here as we come into the lane. He gets it down, doesn't stop in time, runs wide. He runs onto those same tyre marks that are left from the car prior, but runs much wider, unfortunately, going past the cones, and that is a huge penalty. Big shame for Peter Donchek, who did a great job saving. Would have been interested to see where he came out with that shorter fuel stop needed. Meanwhile, we've still got the fighting on track with Jason Miller, Wes Shear, Brian Labarge, and Nia Kamaho. These guys not too far apart from each other. JW Miller as well, keeping himself in the mix too. So we'll see how this one unfolds. But Jason Miller doing a good job of keeping himself up in P2 at the moment. But while these cars have been battling, it has allowed James Watson to scarper away in the lead. A 3.8 second gap, 3.9 second gap, almost 4 seconds now between first and second. And that is going to be beautiful news for James Watson. He does not want to see a caution in these late stages. He wants this race to run green while he has that nice big buffer behind him. So up the front it is James Watson with Jason Miller is second place, and then this huge little battle pack behind him. Brian Labarge is struggling a little bit. He got some extra heat in those tyres. It didn't quite help him. He had a few lockups, so those tyres are going to be a little bit worse off than some of the cars around him. Can he get himself into this battle, or will he have to start defending against Nia Kamaho in the near future? It's going to be all on, I reckon, in the final couple of laps with 17 minutes to go here tonight at Stafford Motor Speedway. It is the Tuesday Night Thunder Series, brought to you by National Racing Network. We will jump to our ad break and our sponsors quickly and be back with you for the final part of this race.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. A big thank you for joining us here at National Racing Network. A big thank you, of course, to all the series sponsors. In the ad break, you didn't miss too much, but Michael Long did have a bit of a moment coming off of turn 4. We'll jump to that replay now. Just losing a bit of adhesion on the exit. May have been turn 2, actually. Sorry. Gets into the corner, mid-corner, back end steps out on him, and he goes around. Manages to get the car stopped nice and easily. Luckily, a lot of grass and runoff here on the infield. Manages to get himself back underway and back out on track. But I'm sure James Watson's heart will have skipped a beat up at the front of this race. His 4-second lead could have been eaten away by a late caution here. Jason Miller, meanwhile, keeps himself up in second, defending against Wes Shear. He is doing a good job of keeping that car in exactly the right position. Meanwhile, Brian Labarge is starting to struggle a little bit as he has Nia Kamaho all over the back of him and starts to put him under pressure. The rear of that number 8 is not looking stuck at the moment. He's starting to struggle a little bit here with those tyres. As I said, he had a few lockups and had a few scruffy laps after his pit exit. He was one of the first cars to stop, of course, and now his rear tyres are starting to pay the price, unfortunately. Just needs to lift off a little bit, let those tyres breathe, try and get them cooled down. It's not the easiest thing in the world, as all around he goes. He manages to save it, manages to not hit anybody else, but Brian Labarge has just dropped from 4th down into 6th position, and that mistake has cost him dearly. And those rear tyres just gave up the ghost, unfortunately, through the mid corner. Back end steps out. Watching here, gets into the corner, similar to what we saw with Michael Long, but he managed to get the car slowed down in time to get it back out on track and crucially keep the pace car stuck in the pit lane where we love to see it. Meanwhile, up the front, James Watson is starting to catch up to the tail of the snake a little bit. He's just got past Drew Bernardi and Michael Long, so he has 2 cars between himself and Jason Miller at the moment as they continue their fight on track. So it's a 4-car fight at the moment for P2 onwards. Gotta say though, Jason Miller has done a great job of defending, keeping himself in the right position and keeping Wes Shear behind him. Can we see Nia Kamaho close the gap in these final 12 minutes, get himself on to the back and get himself in contention for a podium here tonight? If you're enjoying the racing, then please do give the subscribe button a hit, give the like button a hit, and let everybody know what you are enjoying here tonight. It's good to see Steve hopping out there. Thank you for joining us, Steve. And yeah, big unfortunate one for Peter Donchek. Oh, bit of a moment there for Bernardi. He managed to get it slowed down. Managed to get it. Sorry, that was. Yes, that was. I think that was Bernard. No, that was. No, there we go. Yeah, it was Nia Kamaho. Sorry. So there we go. Trouble with similar looking cars when you're looking from a distance, and that's dropped him right back and dropped him behind a position. Just got caught up there with a little bit of dirty air. The car just gave him a big snap of oversteer in the mid-corner. He managed to save it, but he has lost time, and that's going to be hard to gain back. Managed to keep himself ahead of Brian Labarge, though, so it's not all lost for Nia Kamaho. got to be careful of these cars. They can snap so easily, as is the case with all winged cars. You get beautiful amounts of grip with the downforce. It sucks you to the track, sticks you down on there, but when it gives up big time, and you find yourself in an awful lot of trouble. And that can be because you're following a car a bit too close, and that can often cause trouble. We've got some good passing for lapped cars at the moment, and we got the battle on again as Wes Shear is putting Jason Miller under all kinds of pressure, trying up on the high line. Does the 16? Will he be able to snap it down? No, into the wall goes Wes Shear. We said you've got to be careful about that high line a couple of times tonight, and Wes Shear pays a big price there. Heavy hit into the wall. Looks to have gotten away with it relatively unscathed, but any damage to these cars, even a slight bit of damage like that, a glancing blow, is going to damage the suspension. It's going to damage your steering arm. It's going to make the car a little bit less speedy, and it is going to hurt your overall pace. And that is exactly what JW Miller was looking for, and he will be snapping at the heels of Wes Shear, I'm sure, in no time. Nick Amaho and Brian Labarge as well, all looking at that mistake from Wes Shear and thinking we could possibly take advantage of it. Doesn't seem to have slowed the car down too much though. Shear doing a great job of getting himself back onto the tail of Jason Miller and getting himself back into this race. But lesson learned, I'm sure, that he will not go that high again. Those marbles, that dirty line, really does just spit you up into the wall and leave you in a whole heap of trouble. It is not the easiest place to pass, and you can see once again where Shear trying to get the wider line through the corner, using the momentum. He wants to try and get the drive off the corner here, try and get himself pinned underneath Jason Miller so he can make the move. Miller just giving that wall a little slight rub. Nothing wrong with that one. Can cost you a bit of momentum, but you can see Shear is starting to put Miller under pressure. Miller will know that looking in his mirrors. He knows what Shear is trying to do, knows he's trying to get the momentum off the corner to get the run to go down the inside. He just needs to keep defending that inside line as there's contact behind with Labarge and Kamaho. They make contact going into turns 1 and 2, but keep it pointing in the right direction. A big slide for Kamaho. Actually, they didn't make contact, sorry. It was just dueling slides. The two drifting it round the corner as the rear tyres let go for Kamaho. Brian Labarge checking up behind, let go as well. I thought there might have been contact, but there wasn't. Great driving by the two there to keep it pointing in the right direction. As, we have got a caution flag, and it is for Drew Bernardi, I believe, who has gone off on the infield. And we get our first caution here tonight, and that's exactly what James Watson did not want to see. Let's see the replay here of Bernardi getting through the corner, runs up a little bit high, gets on the exit, gets on the power too soon, and around she goes. And unfortunately for Bernardi, that has brought out the caution. Even more unfortunately for James Watson. We see the on-board here, and around she goes. Manages to keep it pointed in the right direction, no stalling, and gets the car back underway. Wes Shear has boarded into the lane. Not surprised here. He's going to probably get some new tyres, but the main thing is going to be getting that repair. So he gets the repair done. Don't even think he got tyres in that. I think he just got repairs done so he can get back out on track and back into this race. As a few cars will get a couple of their kind of lap back here and get themselves in to a slightly better position. Peter Donchek does get one of his laps back, but he's still a lap down, unfortunately. A real shame for the number 13 on pit entry. He just lost it and ended up going around the cone of doom and found himself with a long stop hold penalty that has really taken him out of the race. Did a great job saving fuel in the early stages, made it 100 laps, about 10 to 20 laps more than anybody else, but really did pay the price when he came into pit lane and made that mistake, unfortunately. So, James Watson now has to do a restart with 6 minutes left. We're coming towards the end of tonight's action, towards the end of tonight's race here at Stafford Motor Speedway. It is round number 9 of the TNT series, and we are as ever on National Racing Network. Big thank you, of course, to all of the title sponsors for keeping the lights on here in the commentary booth. And a big thank you, of course, to all of you joining us out there in the World Wide Web. And, of course, the drivers for putting on the show here tonight. Pace car lights are out. Will be our green this time round as James Watson gets himself into position. It's single file restart, remember, on these restarts. So up on the high line they go. Got to be careful not to get too much stuff on their tyres. Be careful on the exit as well, not to spin up those rears. James Watson gets away nicely in the background. We've got Wes Shear coming back quickly as well. Watch out for Shear. He's got a very quick car tonight. Has come into the lane to get some repairs done. I think he stayed on the tyres that he was on, but is now trying to come back. May have changed tyres. We'll just have to see how that unfolds. Not a huge drop off though from fresh to worn tyres, but what's big moment there. Shear and Kamaho almost getting together there as Kamaho gets loose on the exit as well. Does not help things. Great job for Wes Shear to avoid that one. That could have been a monstrous crash. Down the inside he goes. Wes Shear trying to get the run now on near Kamaho. Gets down the inside, taking that much tyre line. Can he get a better exit here? Kamaho manages to get the exit off the high line. Does give the wall a hit. That's not going to help him too much, but Wes Shear should be able to get the move done here. He just needs to get himself in front of that front wing. The 16 will be able to slide up in front of Kamaho and get himself that position gain. Now Kamaho has to defend against Brian Labarge behind him. Can he do the same? Labarge's car still looking a little bit twitchy. His rear tyres still looking like they had a little bit of a rough day in the office, as Nick Kamaho just manages to keep him behind and keeps that spot up at the front. Meanwhile, in the lead, it's still James Watson. He's pulling out another little gap. That car has been an absolute rocket ship here tonight. Jason Miller, though, does sense an opportunity to try and get one spot better. JW Miller, meanwhile, sitting in behind. It's a Miller 3-4 at the 2-3 at the moment, with Wes Shear charging his way up there, trying to get himself back into his position of third at least, and then try and get himself back up there to fight for second place. Will he be able to do it? We will find out very shortly. James Watson is still up there though, still setting some good pace at the moment in the 39, and he is really doing a good job in this car. That thing is absolutely set up to perfection, you gotta say. All that practice that James Watson's put in is paying off at the moment. Can anybody take it to him? It does not look like it, so it's going to be the battle for the podium of second and third here tonight, with 2 minutes 35 seconds remaining. Wes Shear only has a little bit of time where he can take advantage of this. He really needs to push hard and try and get himself past JW Miller. Will he be able to do it in time? That's going to be the big question. Nick Kamaho is pretty safe in fifth position. He might be able to get a little bit on the action too, as we see Shear making the move down the inside of Miller. He's trying to get that inside line tucked in, gets on the exit. Miller should get a better run off this high line. Shear on the inside will get a better run through the corner. He's really got a good grip there, getting into position, but great driving by Miller to keep himself in contention right here. But now that inside line starts to pay off as Wes Shear works his way back up into third position and gets himself back into the podium positions. With 1 minute 30 remaining, not long in this race to go. Can JW Miller keep off the charging Kamaho, keep himself in fourth position for tonight? That's going to be one of the big battles coming to the line, I reckon. Shear has to make up about a second to get close to Jason Miller for P2, and that is a very hard task indeed at this stage of the race. He will be struggling a little bit, and he probably won't be able to get there in time unless we see Jason Miller making a mistake. Wes Shear is absolutely flying at the moment. He is a tenth of a second quicker each lap, but with only about 2 laps remaining, maybe a little bit too little too late. 40 seconds remaining in this race. Not long now until we see the white flag unfurled, and we will be going to the finish of tonight's festivities. We'll keep an eye on the battle for P4, but gotta be said up front, James Watson absolutely doing a great job here tonight. A fantastic run in the series and has been absolutely on fire this season. And tonight, once again, proving it here at Stafford Motor Speedway. James Watson will take the white flag this time round, and he will be coming to the line to find himself a checkered flag in the very near future. Just has to make it through 3 and 4 for the final time today. And he will be tasting the champagne as he crosses the line and gets victory here at Stafford Motor Speedway. It's Jason Miller who comes in second, with Wes Shear in third. JW Miller managed to keep off Nia Kamaho in fifth, Brian Labarge sixth, Peter Jonchek in seventh, Michael Long in eighth, and ninth for Drew Bernardi. As we bring up the results, we see Wes Shear getting himself into position and getting himself to victory lane, where he will be celebrating that well-deserved victory. Absolute rocket ship out there tonight, the number 39. We'll run through the results again. It was James Watson taking victory here tonight, with Jason Miller in second, third place for Wes Shear, JW Miller in fourth, fifth place for Nia Kamaro, Brian Labarge comes home in sixth, seventh for Peter Jonchek, Michael Long in eighth, and ninth for Drew Bernardi. We'll head to a quick ad break and we'll be back with our podium.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here. It is round number 9, and we are done and dusted with that here at Stafford Motor Speedway. And we have our podium up here in the booth. We're going to start off with car number 16. It's Wes Shear. Wes, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on P3 here tonight. Not the easiest one for you after a bit of a heavy lick to the wall.
Yeah, that was a little unplanned there, certainly, but yeah, didn't have too much damage after that. I don't even think, nothing on the wing, just a little side pod, so nothing major. The pit stop for tires definitely helped.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask is, did you get tyres there at the end? So that obviously helped a little bit, and I wondered if you came in just for a bit of damage repair as well. So it obviously gave you a bit of an advantage in that final little bit there, but just couldn't quite get the pace to get up to second place.
Yeah, with the way the tires come in here, or really just on this car, probably would have needed another 10 to 15 laps to get to the front, but hey, it is what it is. So
But you've got to take that gamble sometimes, and well, it didn't really cost you anything. It didn't really gain you anything. You got yourself back up into third.
if anything, it was just a little extra fun. So yeah, it works out.
It's always nice giving yourself a little bit of an extra challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, congratulations on a solid P3 here tonight, Wes. And before I let you go, love shout out to sponsors and people in general.
Yeah, as always, got to thank you guys for the broadcast. Got to thank everyone at TNT for showing up. And it's been a bit of a light season, but yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, other than that, big shout out to Homestead Coffee, keeping me awake and alert enough to fight my way through the field when needed and bounce off the wall when also needed. And yeah, just all around good fun.
I could absolutely use a big mug of that coffee right now. So, congratulations, Wes. We'll chat to you again soon, I'm sure, but well done on P3 here tonight.
Yeah, thanks. See you soon.
Next up, we'll head to our second place getter. It's Jason Miller. Jason, welcome to the booth and congratulations on P2 here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. A little unexpected. I didn't have a very good practice session. Was very surprised when I qualified second, and very surprised to finish there as well.
It's always nice when you get a good surprise like that, especially when you've had a bit of a rough practice session. Obviously, you had to do a lot of defending in that race. It looked like a lot of hard work you had to do just to keep yourself up in front.
Yeah, definitely didn't have the pace of James. I don't know how much I held up Pete and Wes, but it was definitely a hard track to pass at too. So it was pretty much drive the low line and make everybody go around you high.
Yeah, we saw that. You're absolutely ripping that low line and keeping yourself down there to defend. Very nicely positioned car all night long. Just talking us through that sort of high line, it looked pretty perilous out there for anybody that went there.
Yeah, there definitely wasn't a lot of grip up high. There's a few times I didn't, brake a little late going into one. Got up into that high line and just trying to keep it out of the wall, really.
Yeah, a lot of people struggling with that tonight, and a few little love taps to the wall. We saw a couple of little moments where you gave the wall just the gentlest of nudges out there.
Yeah, nothing to pick up any damage though, thankfully.
That's exactly what you need to do. You're maximising the racetrack. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, too bad I can't perfect that light tap to the wall every lap.
Well, congratulations tonight. A really strong showing, getting yourself second place, starting second, finishing second. A decent run out there. Congratulations tonight, Jason. Before I let you go, though, love shout out sponsors, people in general. You absolutely deserve it.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing the broadcast. It's fun to watch it back every week, and thanks for everybody that turns out for the race. It's what I look forward to on Tuesday nights.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Jason. Have a good evening, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in the near future.
Thanks, guys.
And finally, tonight, we have our race winner, a man that's basically, got his name engraved on the seat for that position, engraved on the top step of the podium at the moment. James Watson, welcome back to the booth, and congratulations on victory here at Stafford Motor Speedway.
Yeah, thank you. Leave to finish the race with that. I wasn't sure how things were going to go tonight, with this being the first time we've ever run Stafford in these cars.
A very tricky looking track out there. A lot of people getting caught out with the with the sort of higher line here, obviously it's not a huge amount of banking, but it seemed like anytime you got anywhere towards that high line, the car just understeered.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising. I'm used to. I have a lot of experience in here, but with cars that are, more designed to be around here, like the modifieds and late models and whatnot. So I'm used to those running that middle line there, lap in, lap out. So for it to not be as viable this time and having to kind of hug the apron a little more was a bit surprising.
Yeah, we saw you taking that real low run and getting as much apron as possible. It didn't look like it was unsettling your car too much at all.
Now, that's the weird thing about here, is that it almost feels like for whatever reason, like once you get to the center of 1 and 2, the car just kind of naturally points down at the apron. So that's why I was hooking there. That's actually pretty much the normal line I run here in a modified or late model. A bit more of a wider entry, taking that middle line, but I do the exact same kind of cut down, hook the apron, and straight shot off turn 2 that I was doing here.
Well, absolutely paid off for you tonight. The car was an absolute rocket ship out there. It looked absolutely beautifully set up as well. The car looks like a beautiful thing to drive.
Yeah, it I definitely caught a break with Brian had the better raw pace. Like I saw his first lap was like a 4, and I immediately saw it and went, well, I'm cooked. So I caught a huge break with him having a little bit of issues in the second lap and being able to take the pole. So that really helped with the clean air factor. But knock on wood, it kind of felt like with the practicing I was doing, it felt like the long run was gonna be pretty good with this car, with this setup. So that's what I was kind of banking on. And then once I saw I had the pole, it was like, all right, well, just cruise and stretch it as long as I could. And yeah, I even with the threat of Wes and the fresh tires, like I was driving it as hard as I could, and I even still able to set like a all-time personal best on that final stint. So that really lucked out with having a lot of long run pace in this car.
Good to hear. Next time we're off to Twin Ring Motegi, a very, very different style of track. It's going to be almost like a super speedway for these cars, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be an absolute super speedway. It's going to be pretty much like Daytona and Talladega. So it's just, putting yourself in the best position, hope you don't get wrecked, and hope everything kind of falls your way coming to the checkered. So there's not a whole lot of practicing or anything you can do on that. You just gotta, pray and hope for the best, really.
Going to be exciting stuff. Congratulations for your win here tonight, James. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing, some love, some shout-outs to all the people out there.
Yeah, I gotta thank everyone at Team Watson Racing Setups. Use code WATSPIN39 for 10% off at checkout. I gotta thank Chris Graham and everyone at the National Racing Network, Icon Sim Racing Apparel, Boomer Button Boxes, a new sponsor that came on and is helping me out, Binks Designs. It's the company of a good friend of mine. Wife. She makes a lot of like artwork and tapestry and things of that nature, and her designs are amazing. It's like full on kind of takes you back to the 60s. It's really cool, the her design philosophy. So check out her stuff at binksdesigns.com, and my folks for watching at home, and you guys for broadcasting as well.
No problems at all. Thank you so much, James Watson. Well done again for the victory here at Stafford Motor Speedway.
Cheers, guys.
Well, we're done and dusted here tonight. A big thank you to everybody for joining us out there. Just a reminder to hit the subscribe, hit the like button to catch more action in the future, and that action will be heading off to Japan next time out, where we head to Twin Ring Motegi. If you'd like to become a sponsor of the series, or you're interested in joining, all the details will be up on the screen right now for TNT Tuesday Night Thunder. From myself, Mr. Carl Wilkinson Withy, and of course Mr. Kobe Jordan up in the booth, we'll wish you a very good night, and we will see you all next time out for Japan.